Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. In the last video session we have seen how to write our custom map reduce program on a custom data set which is stored in a single node Hadoop cluster, and we also learned how to perform certain aggregate functions on the data and get the result. So continuing from where we have left, in this video session we are going to see what exactly Hive is and where exactly Hive sets in with respect to our Hadoop ecosystem. At the same time, we'll see how to set up Hive on top of the Hadoop installation that we have already done. So the operating system that I'm using for this course is Linux Mint 19.3 Cinnamon, and it is based on 1804 LTS, and apparently the steps that I follow to install Hive will work properly even if you're using Ubuntu 20.04 or 19.04. Doesn't matter. So if you're following these instructions, then make sure that your Hadoop cluster is been set up properly and all the daemons are up and running as well. So without any further delay, let us jump in. So the first question that I'm going to answer is where exactly Hive is with respect to our Hadoop ecosystem. So the diagram that I'm going to show will shed some insights onto it. So here is where you can see the Hive, so which is a query-based programming like or query-based language or query-based interface that has been provided by the Hadoop for the programmers who do queries most. And if they want to use this query-based language to operate and manipulate data inside the Hadoop cluster. So basically the core packages of Hadoop is written using Java, and Java is the native language of it, and if the programmers are not comfortable using Java, they can go ahead with scripting such as Python or pig scripting. That is another way of operating or performing operations on the Hadoop cluster that we have set up. So if you're comfortable with SQL queries or MySQL queries, then probably you can choose Hive as your go-to language to work with the Hadoop. So this is where Hive sets in, and the query language that we use for this course is called as HiveQL, which is quite similar to the SQL queries, but there are few differences with respect to HiveQL and SQL queries that we're going to explore in the subsequent sessions. So that is the first question that I wanted to address. The second question is like how exactly Hive operates on Hadoop ecosystem. So if you can look into this diagram itself, you can see that in order for Hive to work properly, the HDFS and MapReduce must be installed in the system, which in other words, Hadoop should be installed properly in your local machine. So make sure that your Hadoop ecosystem is up and running, or Hadoop is installed properly in your system before you jump into the installation step of Hive. So the second question that I'm going to address is with respect to the architecture, that is how exactly Hive operates with respect to the Hadoop setup that we have done. So basically, if you can look into this diagram, you can search in the internet for Hive architecture. You can find many diagrams related which are quite same as the one that I'm depicting on the screen. So we have two components in this case. The first half of the component belongs to the Hive, and the second component is our Hadoop system or Hadoop setup that we have done, that is being pointed out. So Hadoop MapReduce HDFS ecosystem is residing in here, and the rest of the component that has been shown in here is belongs to the Hive. So in order for the user to interact with the Hadoop ecosystem via command line with the help of Hive, Hive provides three interfaces. One is called as Hive CLI, which stands for Hive Command Line Interface. There is one more advanced tool or shell that has been provided by the Hive. We call it as Beeline, which can be used to write queries, which is later converted into MapReduce program. If you're not comfortable with this, you can use the web interface for this course, and it's going to work just fine. So if you have installed Hambari on top of this Hadoop ecosystem, then you might get that web interface. So basically what exactly Hive internal component consists of? So it consists of the first component, that is Hive CLI that I spoke earlier. It consists, the second component that we have is driver, compiler, metastore, and execution engine. So if you're coming from the SQL background, then you might be knowing all of these component. Metastore is the area in which you can see the metadata of the tables that has been operated with the help of queries. So basically if you're talking about table structure, table names, table column names and everything, size of the table and everything, all of these comes under the metadata, and these metadata are stored in the metastore. And what exactly this driver component will do? Driver component will do two jobs. So the first job is like whenever a user submits a query, that query will be received by the driver, and the driver, what it does is it is going to see the structure of it, and it's going to forward that component or forward that query to the compiler. So try to understand this. Your Hadoop ecosystem or our Hadoop ecosystem or Hadoop setup will never understand HiveQL directly. That is, there should be a component which will interface with this query with the Hadoop system that we have set up, which is written using Java. So the middle component is your execution engine, and this is the component which is going to convert the plan that has been sent by the driver into the equivalent MapReduce program and operate that onto the Hadoop nodes or Hadoop daemons. Okay, so driver does, that is the first job of the driver, is to get the query from the user and store the metadata of it, little bit metadata that it's going to store, and then it's going to pass that query to the compiler. So what exactly this compiler will do, that I'll come to that I'll talk about it in a bit. The second job that is being done by the driver is to get the result of an execution that is being done by the Hadoop ecosystem back to the Hive CLI. So driver does the two jobs. So the first job is to take the query from the Hive CLI, and the second job is to get the results that is being executed from in our Hadoop ecosystem back to the user. So that is those are the two jobs that it will be done by the driver. So now coming back to the compiler, so what exactly this compiler will do? So basically, as I quoted earlier, the Hadoop ecosystem will not understand the query in its raw format. So what does it do is the incoming HiveQL or Hive queries will be converted into an execution plan, and this execution plan will be executed in the execution engine, and upon the execution of this execution plan, the MapReduce program will be generated and it will be run, or it will be deployed onto the Hadoop cluster. So the compiler outputs the data in the format of an execution plan. So the compiler will take in HiveQL, the query that has been sent, queries the metastore about the tables and structure related to that query, builds it, and then it creates an execution plan with the help of the metastore. And once the execution plan is being generated by the compiler, it will forward that execution plan to the execution engine, and the execution engine is the component which will do the translation of this execution plan into the equivalent MapReduce programming. So since we have to do two level of translation, that is from query language to the execution plan and execution language to the MapReduce program, this particular Hive tool or Hive software is considered to be very slow compared to the Java based execution. And if you're trying to operate something, or if you're trying to use an application such as real-time applications such as streaming and all, then Hive is a bad choice for you. Okay, so with this architecture in place, we'll try to understand how to set up Hive. So the version of Hive that I'm going to set up is Apache Hive 3.1.2 on top of the Hadoop 3.1.3. So let us jump in with the installation step. I do hope that you understood this Hive architecture. Okay, so let us jump in with the installation step of this particular Hive. Okay, so I'm going to come back to the terminal. So I'm there in the Hadoop user space, and I've logged in as a Hadoop user for this course. So our Hadoop single node cluster has been set up, and it has been installed in the directory /user/local/Hadoop, and we'll continue with that. So in order to work with Hive, first we need to download a Hive. So if you can go to their official website, that is Apache Hive. If you search in the Google Apache Hive, you'll get the Hive Apache Hive website where you can download the binaries. That is Apache Hive 3.1.2, which is the recent version that we have. So once you download that particular binary file from their official website, you'll get that tar file which looks something like this. So this is the package that we need to set up, we need to install in our Hadoop ecosystem. And there's one more library that you have to download, which is Goa. So this is a Google library for Google Java library, which is used for advanced graph generation, collections, and input and output operations as well. So this Goa version that we have is that comes with the installation of comes with the package of Hive is Goa 17.0, which is not compatible with the setup. So you have to download the recent version of this tar file or jar file, that is Goa 27.0.1. You have to download these files. So I do hope that you download these two files before you start with the installation of this Hive. So let us look into the steps that we need to follow to set it up. So the first step is to extract this particular Hive package. I've already done that. You just double click on it and click on extract, and I've extracted that particular folder onto my desktop folder. So I do hope that you understood, you know how to extract this. You can use the tar command, or you can use the GUI interface like this, and you can just click on this and extract it to the specified directory that is needed for you. So let us jump in. So the first step, what we are supposed to do is we are supposed to put this Hive extracted folder into our Hadoop directory. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this particular directory into our Hadoop home. So I'm going to traverse through so desktop. In my desktop, what we have is Apache Hive. Let us move that into our Hadoop home. So Hadoop home is there in user local / Hadoop, and I will name that folder as Hive. Okay, so the first step is that. So now the extracted folder has been moved into this directory. So let us check. So ls user local Hadoop Hive. So if you can see that Hive folder has been moved in here, so the extracted folder is residing it as Hive. So the next step, what we are supposed to do is we have supposed to give the ownership of this folder to the Hadoop user only. So we can type in the command sudo change owner recursively Hadoop Hadoop is the user. So now we'll put that path Hadoop Hive. So we'll give the ownership of this particular Hive folder to Hadoop user. So do that. Now apart from Hadoop user, you cannot access this. You can access this particular directory, but you cannot do modifications over there until and unless you are a Hadoop user. Okay, so that's the first step that we need to follow. Now what we are supposed to do is we are supposed to modify certain path variables that we have set up with respect to Hadoop. So let us do that now. So sudo vim. So we have set the Hadoop variables and the path Hadoop profile d / Hadoop java.sh. So this is the path. This is a file where exactly we have set up path variables and so on. To this we are going to add a few lines in here. So the first one is export Hive home. We'll create a user variable, path variable Hive home. So this is equal to user local Hadoop and Hive. So Hive home is this. Next we need to add the configuration directory as well. So Hive conf directory, this is equal to Okay, so Hive configuration directory is there inside this Hive home. That is inside the Hive folder we have conf directory, and that is where the configuration files will be present. Now what we are going to do is we are going to add this Hive home to our path variable. So export path is equal to $path colon $hive home /ben. Okay, so this will add our Hive home /ben to our path variable, so we can access Hive from any of the path that is possible. Okay, so next is we need to add the class path variable. So export class path is equal to $class path. So first we'll set up with respect to, we'll add the Hadoop home to the class path variable. So put it like this, lib star. So this will point all the libraries into our class path during the execution. So export class path is equal to $class path colon $Hadoop home lib star. Okay, so we need to add our Hive libraries to our class path as well. So put it like this, class path is equal to $class path colon $hive home /lib star. So there you go, we have added the necessary libraries to our class path. So make sure that all of these additional entities or additional lines that need to be added are added in a proper order. So the first line that we added is the Hive home, and then we added our Hive configuration directory, Hive conf directory, and then what we have done is we have added the Hive home to our path variable, and then we have added the necessary libraries for Hadoop as well as Hive to our class path variable. So these are the things that you need to add with respect to the Hive setup. So save. The next thing what we need to do is we need to source this particular file. So source, okay, there you go. Now if you can do echo $hive home, you can see that Hive home is proper, and if you echo $path, if you do this, it will show you the path variable as well. So anyway, so that's the second step that you are supposed to follow. So we have done two steps so far. First we have extracted the Hive folder inside the Hadoop. We changed the ownership of that folder to the Hadoop user. Then we have added the Hive variables or certain path variables such as Hive home to our path variable. At the same time we have seen we have added the necessary libraries to the class path variable. So the next step what we are supposed to do is we are supposed to start the daemons of Hadoop. So I'm going to do that now. So I'm going to execute start all.sh. So to start the daemons, the Hadoop daemons that we have. So for the further steps to work properly, we need to have our Hadoop system up and running. Make sure that all the daemons are up and running before you follow the subsequent steps that I'm going to show. Okay, so we'll wait for all the nodes to start, and then we'll continue with the installation steps. Okay, so let us put JPS and see. So see that all the daemons are up and running. Now what we need to do is we need to create two directories for the Hive to work properly. If you can look into the official site of Apache Hive, it is clearly mentioned that we need to create a directory for temporary values by name /temp, and we need to create a variables folder. So that is what we are going to do now. Okay, so I'm going to do that now. We'll create the first folder, HDFS DFS, make directory -p. So we'll create a folder by name /temp, so the temp variable in the root directory. So next we need to create one more directory for the Hive to work properly. Under the root directory we need to create user Hive / warehouse. So make sure that you create these directories properly. So one is /temp, the other one is /user /hive /warehouse. Okay, so let us check that file system and see whether all the folders are intact or not. So HDFS -ls, if you do slash, it will show you all the files that has been created under the root directory. So /temp /user. So we are able to create these two folders. Now we are going to give write permission to these two folders to our Hadoop user. So type in the command HDFS DFS chmod, which stands for changing the modes. Give the group owners write permission on the two folders that we created. So g+w, then put this right there. Okay, sorry. Okay, there you go. We have given the write permission to the group user, which is Hadoop, for the two folders that we have created. One is /temp, the other one is /user /hive /warehouse. Okay, so this is your third step, and there are few tweakings that we are supposed to do for this. Prior to that, let us replace the Gova jar, which is 17.0 in our Hive live directory, with the newly downloaded jar that we have. So first of all, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Hive home and put ls over there. Okay, and let us go to the lib directory and see. We can see that we have that Gova library somewhere here. So let's have a look. Okay, so you can see that the library that we have is Gova 19.0, so which is not compatible, so we need to replace it with the recent jar that we have. So I'm going to copy this. What I'm going to do in here is I'm just going to move this. I'm just going to replace this particular file. So now we don't have that particular file, so if you can see, this file has been moved to jar_buff, so this is not going to run. Now it's about time we move the downloaded jar in here, so I'm going to move so to the current directory. So I'll move this. Now the jar has been moved in here, so if you can put ls, and you can see that you can cross check once before we proceed with the next step. So let's see whether that jar has been added to our directory or not. So yeah, you can see that the jar has been added in here, so make sure that this step is quite crucial, so have a look into it. Okay, so we are able to do that step. Now what we are supposed to do next is we need to configure the Hive, and inside that configuration we need to tweak in the Hive configuration file, and inside that file we need to specify certain modifications. So let us go ahead and do it. Okay, so what is the next step that we are supposed to do is have to come back to the configuration directory. So cd-conf so in order for us to set up properly, Hive does provide certain template files, XML files. We just need to use these template files to do the modifications. So the first modification what you're supposed to do in this case is we have to modify the environment.sh template. So let us do that now. So copy Hive env to hive env.sh. Okay, so we'll just copy it. Now what we are going to do is we are going to open that hive env.sh. So here we need to do certain changes. The first change that we need to do is in the line number 49, where we are supposed to set up our Hadoop home directory. So here you can add Hadoop home is equal to /user /local /Hadoop. So this is the only change that you're supposed to do in this particular directory. So save and exit. Okay, the next change that we are supposed to do in this case is with respect to a default site or template that is there present in here, that is hive default xml.template. So we'll do that. Copy this hive default xml into hive site.xml file. Okay, so copy this particular file, that is hive default .xml template, into hive site.xml hyphen site.xml. Okay, so copy it. Now we'll modify this hive site.xml. so there are a few changes that we need to do in here, so let us do it one after the other. So the first change that you're supposed to do is in the line number 38. So that is hive execution scratch directory. So this we have to change the value of it. So type with me with respect to this /temp /hive hyphen dollar user.name. Okay, so this is the first change that you're supposed to do, that is we have to change the scratch directory to /temp /hive hyphen $user.name. So these are the standard directories that you're supposed to use for this course, so keep it like that only. So this is the first change that you're supposed to do. Okay, so the next change that you're supposed to do is in the line number 142. Let's scroll down and go to the 142 line number. Okay, so here hive exact local scratch directory is there, so this value we need to change again. So this value should be put as /temp dollar user.name. Okay, so this is the change that you are supposed to do for hive.exact local scratch directory. So this is the second change you are supposed to do. Okay, so the next change that you are supposed to do is with respect to the next feature that is present in the 147th line, that is hive downloaded resource directory. This should be changed as well, so let us do that. The third change, so the value of this directory should be /temp dollar user.name underscore resources. Okay, so /temp dollar user.name underscore resources. Okay, so make sure that you spell it properly, underscore resources. Okay, so this is the third change that you're supposed to do, that is we just modified the values of the hive.exact.local.scratch directory. At the same time we have changed the value of hive.downloaded.resources.directory. Okay, so make sure that you do these changes properly. So the last change that we are supposed to do is the permission. So the permission by default is 700. We need to change that permission to 733, so giving the right access to the group as well. So make sure that you do the change properly. Okay, so these are the changes that you're supposed to do in this file. So save and exit. Okay, so what we are supposed to do next is we need to tell what kind of DB that we are using with respect to Hive. So Hive can be set up with the help of various database management systems such as MySQL or Oracle even. So but the default one is Derby SQL, which is the one that I'm going to show how to set it up. Okay, so this specification of database management system with respect to Hive can be done with the help of a command called a schema tool. Okay, so type properly schema tool hyphen db type. So db type is Derby, which is again by default SQL it is. So init schema. Okay, this is camel casing, make sure that you type it properly. So schema tool, then hyphen db type, so Derby SQL, and hyphen init schema. Okay, so if this command executes properly, then we have done all the changes, we have done all the configurations properly. So we have ended up with an error that is in the line number this. So we do that change Hive in the Hive site.xml. So okay, so I think by default some additional characters had been added to that. So in the line number 3215, I believe we need to do a little bit of change over there. Yeah, I can see that there are few characters that has been appended in here which is causing us trouble, so let us get rid of it. Okay, so now you save this. Now again we'll execute this, make sure that this query gets in properly. Okay, so now the Derby has been created, and if you now type Hive shell will pop up, and if you get the Hive indicator over there, then it works properly. Now let us see what is that error that we have in this case. Okay, so the path name, it says temp Hive, is some problem with that. We'll see the changes over there. So we'll again go back to the Hive site.xml. So we'll examine the directory over there. We've done some mistake over there. Okay, so the first change that we are supposed to do is line number 38. Let's have a look. So directory name is /temp/hive $$ user.name. So if you can look into it, here's the mistake that I did. So I'm just going to get rid of colon. Okay, then let's check again one more time. So schema tool has been failed. So I think it's already there. Let's do that Hive and see whether the shell is been shown or not. Okay. Okay, there you go. Your shell came in. Your shell popped up. So we are good with the Hive now. Okay.